You know Hordak. In the classic 1980s cartoon, he was almost a joke. Loud, impatient, always being humiliated by Skeletor himself. He looked like a second-rate villain who couldn't get anything right. But what if I told you that this man was the true architect of every single tragedy Eternia ever faced? The 2024 Dark Horse Comics series, Masters of the Universe. Revolution reveals a story that has never been told before. Skeletor wasn't born from hatred. He wasn't simply created. Skeletor was manufactured, piece by piece, memory by memory, and the engineer behind it all was Hordak. This is the story He-Man fans have waited 40 years to see. Before Hordak ever appears in this story, someone else was already at work. Keldor grew up on Gar with his mother, Saryn, son of King Miro of Eternia, but with blue skin. Different. Sent away from the palace by his own father before he ever knew there was a throne to claim. And it was Saryn who raised him, who taught him magic, who told him two things from the time he was a child. We are made to surpass our masters. And you, Keldor, are destined to surpass Miro, whatever the cost. It sounded like a mother's love. It sounded like pride. But the comic shows us it was something else entirely. It was programming. Now we need to talk about Hordak. And to understand him, you need to know something first. Before attacking Gar, Hordak goes somewhere unexpected. He travels to the Fright Zone to consult the Sisters of Fate. He doesn't go there to ask about battles or conquests. He goes to ask about his future. And what the Sisters reveal disturbs him. His destiny is intertwined with someone from Eternia. Someone he hasn't met yet. Someone whose power could change everything. Hordak doesn't wait for more. He launches an attack on Gar, not to conquer it, to find that someone. And in the middle of the battle, he finds him. On an island where magic is strictly forbidden, a young blue-skinned mage uses his powers openly to defend his people. Keldor takes down entire squads of Horde soldiers with ancient magic. Hordak watches, and instead of ordering his execution, he does something else entirely. He makes an offer. You have a destiny, Keldor. I can help you reach it. And Keldor, who was never accepted, who never had a place, who was exiled before he could walk the halls of his father's palace. Keldor believes him. But Hordak had a very specific reason for wanting Keldor close. And it wasn't kindness. There exists a weapon called the Havoc Staff, forged where magic and technology collide. A staff of impossible power that only one person in the universe could hold without being destroyed. And Hordak had just found that person. The alliance between Hordak and Keldor takes shape on Zalkrone, a planet under Horde siege, a battlefield, the perfect place for two men who have everything to prove. Because here the comic reveals one of the most powerful symmetries in Masters of the Universe history. Hordak has a brother, Horde Prime, the supreme leader of the Horde Empire, and Hordak lives completely in his shadow. Two pairs of brothers, two powerful men who rule empires, two men cast aside by their own blood. Keldor and Hordak found in each other the perfect mirror of their own tragedies. And it was exactly that shared pain that Saryn was already exploiting. The mysterious voice in Keldor's dreams grows stronger here, more insistent, and Hordak begins to hear something too. Both of them start to feel it. This alliance was no accident. Someone is moving the pieces, and neither of them can see who. On Zalkrone, we also see something for the first time: the mnemonic cradle, Hordak's memory machine, a device that can record, erase, and implant memories. He uses it to harvest the memories of defeated enemies. In that moment, it looks like just another piece of Horde technology. Only later do we understand what it was really built for. Keldor is going to confront that voice. He's going to demand to know who it is. And the answer will change everything he thought he knew about his own life. Keldor breaks from Hordak and escapes to Eternos against his orders. He needs answers, and he knows where to find them. In the Dark Hemisphere, Keldor finally faces the voice directly. "You are not my mother. Who are you? Why are you helping me?" The figure lowers its hood, and it is Saryn, but not the Saryn he knew. "I am the first Weaver," she says, "High Priestess of Havoc, Mother of Chaos and Shadow. And the only surviving priestess because I eliminated the other two." His mother wasn't just a woman from Anwat Gar. She was the guardian of an ancient mystical force. And every lesson she ever taught Keldor, every word about destiny and greatness, was preparation. Not for a throne, not for a kingdom. Saryn wanted Keldor to become the living avatar of Havoc in the world. Not a son, a weapon, an instrument. The Dark Hemisphere has murals on its walls, and those murals show something deeply disturbing. The three gods of Eternia, the three priestesses, and further along, Mother Board and Skeletor, infected by a technological virus. Saryn knew Keldor's entire future before he was even born. She saw every step of it, and she did nothing to stop it, because it was exactly what she wanted. Back on the Horde ship, Hordak is in his regeneration chamber when the voice says something it has never said before. Our three paths will finally converge. 3, not 2. Hordak understands immediately. The voice was playing both of them at the same time. He and Keldor were just pieces on Saryn's board. He tears himself from the chamber and calls for Keldor. But Keldor is already gone. The ship's computer offers to track his location. Hordak refuses. I know exactly where he went. But when Hordak arrives at the Dark Hemisphere, the confrontation has already happened. And what Keldor does next will seal his fate forever. Keldor knows everything now. He knows he was manipulated since birth. He knows every person who was supposed to love him had an agenda. And still, knowing all of it, he moves toward the Havoc Staff. Because the power it offers is real, and Keldor believes he can control it. He is wrong. Now, before we get to what happens next, if you watched our previous video, you know that Keldor was the half-brother of King Randor, born of the Gar race, and that he became Skeletor. In that video, we showed how Keldor was disfigured by acid that Randor deflected back at him. That was the 2002 animated series version. This comic tells a different story. Darker, more deliberate. What happened to Keldor here wasn't an accident of battle. It was engineered. Saryn gives Keldor the infinity pendant she always wore around her neck. A gift. One last lie wrapped in the appearance of love. And then, Keldor makes the choice there is no coming back from. He grabs the Havoc Staff. The ancient magic detonates outward from the weapon. Not like power. Like destruction. The flesh of Keldor's face begins to dissolve. His features, his skin, everything that made him who he was. Hordak watches and makes a decision. Inside Hordak's laboratory, Modulok, Tarantula, and Succubug surround the mnemonic cradle. Keldor is strapped in. His mind is still fighting, still holding on. Hordak gives the order. Erase everything. But Keldor resists. His mind pushes back against the machine with everything it has. Hordak turns to Modulok. Increase the power, 700%. Modulok hesitates. Tarantula hesitates. At least he won't remember this, Modulok says quietly as he obeys. And while the machine tears through Keldor's mind in the real world, something extraordinary happens inside it. Keldor is reliving his memories. One by one, they disappear. Anwat Gar, Saryn, the battles, Hordak, the voice, everything being stripped away. And then a figure appears, a being with a white skull and burning eyes, Skeletor. And Skeletor begins to speak. Why are you holding on to these memories? You were Miro's pawn, Saryn's pawn, Hordak's pawn. You were never free. You were never what you were supposed to be. Let go. Start over. But then Keldor reaches a memory he refuses to release. He and Randor, young boys chasing a baby panther through the halls of the palace at Eternos. Two brothers laughing, running, causing chaos together. Before the exile, before the hatred, before any of it. That was Keldor's happiest memory. The only moment he was simply a boy, with his brother, before the world decided he didn't belong. I don't want to go, he says. I don't want to forget. But the machine has no mercy, and Hordak has no compassion. Keldor weeps for his mother as the last of himself disappears, and then Hordak does the final thing, the most chilling thing of all. He doesn't leave Keldor empty. He implants a false memory, a memory harvested from someone else, from a being of another dimension, a demon between worlds. That false memory becomes the only identity that remains. And that is why, in the original 1983 cartoon, Skeletor believed he was an interdimensional demon. Because Hordak put that belief inside him, he didn't just erase who Keldor was. He replaced him with someone else entirely. What remains is not Keldor. There is no more Keldor. What remains is a creature without a past, without a family, without compassion, a perfect weapon, Skeletor. So when you ask who the true villain of Eternia is, the answer isn't simple. Skeletor is the weapon. Saryn planted the seed. Hordak was the engineer. Keldor was not a monster. Keldor was a boy who never belonged anywhere, exiled by his father, programmed by his mother, destroyed by Hordak. And in the end, the only thing he wanted to hold on to was a childhood memory of a brother who was once his friend.